The Aramaic and Palestinian Targum, Exodus 14, we're reading the second part of the chapter. To a portion, Metsora. And the Lord spoke with Moshe and Aaron, saying, When you have entered upon the land of Canaan, which I will give you for a possession, and a man who hath builded a house by rapine finds that I have put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your inheritance, and he who owneth the house shall come to the priest, saying, There is a plague, and it appeareth to me in the house. Then the priest shall direct that they make the house empty before the priest cometh to inspect the house, that all that is in the house may not be condemned as unclean. And after the priest shall go in to inspect the house, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague be like the colour of 2 beans crushed with stones, and goeth lower than the 4 walls, green or red, and its appearance be deeper than the walls, the priest shall go out from the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest returning on the 7th shall look, and behold, if the breadth of the plague had increased in the wall of the house, then the priest shall direct that they bring out the stones which have the plague in them, and throw them without the city into an unclean place. And they shall scrape the inside of the house round about, and throw the dust which they have scraped off without the city into the unclean place. And they shall take other stones and insert them in the place of the former stones, and let other mortar be taken, and the house be replastered. Jerusalem, and they shall plaster the house. But if the plague return and increase in the house, after the stones have been broken out, and the house hath been scraped, and after that it had been replastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the breadth of the plague had increased in the house, it a plain leprosy in the house, it is unclean. Then shall they destroy the house, and its stones, and its timber, and all the plaster of the house, and lice shall remove it without the city to an unclean place. And whoever goeth into the house in the days that it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And whoever sleepeth in the house shall wash his clothes, and whoever eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. But if, having gone in, the priest looketh, and behold, the breadth of the plague has not increased in the house, after the house had been plastered, then the priest shall make the house to be clean, for the plague hath healed. And he shall take for the purification of the house 2 turtle doves, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the slayer shall kill 1 turtle dove in a vessel of earthenware with spring water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the bird that has been killed in the spring water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall purify the house with the blood, with the living bird, and with cedar wood, and with hyssop, and with the scarlet. And the living bird he shall send forth out of the town upon the face of the field, and shall atone for the house, and it shall be clean. But if it is to be that the house will be again struck with leprosy, the bird on that day will return, and may be fit for food. But the bird that was killed shall the priest bury in the presence of the owner of the house. This is the decree of instruction in the law for every plague of leprosy and scorbutus, and for leprosy in apparel or in a house, and for tumours, scars, and inflamed blotches. Jerusalem, and for tumours, scars, and inflamed blotches, that the priest may teach the people to discern between the day of darkness, in which they may not be able to see the plague, and the day of light, and between a man who is unclean and a man who is clean. This shall be the decree of instruction for the leprosy. This is the end of the chapter.